What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you guys are really new to the channel, be sure to check out our members only page and become a MBF Bass Head. You know, we got some exclusive videos on there and do some really cool stuff on the members only. So if you guys haven't checked out that, be sure to check out that page on the channel as well. It's hard to believe it's tournament time already. We are in the garage, we're doing our final prep. So as we're filming this, we're leaving tomorrow for Lake Conroe, the first stop on the Bass Pro Tour of the 2025 season. Now, as you guys are watching this video, we'll already be there, practiced a couple days, and getting ready for the event. But as we're currently filming this, we're doing a little bit of final prep. You know, I'm doing my final research, looking at the weather, finishing tackle, that sort of stuff. And I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through a preview of how I think you know, things may go down, some things to watch, that sort of stuff. We're gonna kind of go through a Lake Conroe preview, first event of the 2025 season. Okay, so man, the first event of the year is always a special one just because you know you've had such a long break since the last event of the 2024 season. You've had a lot of time to think about it. I know I've been going crazy the last month. Started really focusing on tournament season, you know, prep work, map study, watching the weather, you know, kind of paying attention to the weather for the last 30 days or so. Watching a bunch of videos, doing all of my research. Really started about a month ago, and I even went down and did a little pre-practice on Lake Conroe because I'd never been there, and it's a really interesting lake. So Conroe, it's going to be a very interesting tournament to see how it plays out, especially with our new forward-facing sonar regulations, where we're only able to use forward-facing sonar for one of our 3 periods of the day. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays into the strategies and whatnot. There's going to be a lot of techniques in play for sure. You know, there's a little bit of grass in the lake. There's some hydrilla. There's some coontail, some kind of bank grass, you know, like water willow. So you're going to see some of those play into people's game plans for sure. You know, there is there is a ton of docks and man-made structure, you know, like docks, marinas, riprap, that kind of stuff. There isn't a whole lot of natural rock in the lake, which is something that I generally like to focus on, is more of that natural rock, but there isn't much of that at all in the lake. So you're gonna see a lot of, you know, beating the bank with more man-made stuff, riprap, boat docks. A lot of the docks are pole docks, so that gives, you know, if you show up to a boat dock and there is, say, 10 poles that are holding that dock in the water, or, you know, that go down to the bottom, that is 10 targets that one dock offers. And then you've got, I don't know how many thousands of docks on the lake. So there is a lot of precise pieces of cover that the bass could be sitting on. And it's going to, you know, you really got to be really good at casting to pick apart these areas. It's going to be hard to break down and find those productive areas because there's so many small little places those fish could sit. And with it being fairly cold here recently, I think the strike zone is going to shrink, and you're going to have to really put those baits right on top of the fish. So for me, I do a lot of my research on my phone here. So I do a lot of it on the Deep Dive app, you know, especially immediately leading up to the event. So I'll pull up the Deep Dive app here. I'll kind of walk you guys through some of the things that I like to research prior to the event. So first off, right at the top is the lake level. So it gives me the lake level from the last week. So I can see that the lake level's been pretty stable here over the last week. You know, it hasn't rose or fallen very much. And that lake level is just a little bit low of normal full pool, which it's at, actually has come up a little bit since I went there and pre-fished. So the water's going to be a little bit higher than when I was there. So that's good, but I'm always looking for stability. I want that water level to be very stable, or if it's rising or falling, I want it to be very slowly rising or very slowly falling. I don't want any drastic changes in the last week or so before we head to the event. So as of now, it's very stable, which is a good thing for the fishing. Now, the next thing is the wind effects. So this is more of your immediately before you head out on the water to look at the wind effects. So here we can see the wind effects from today. It's very calm. But as we scroll through, we can see tomorrow would be Saturday, so that is 2 days before practice. Sunday is a day before practice. Monday is the first day of practice. So I can see that wind direction on here on the wind effects map. I can see the areas that will be getting hit the hardest by the wind and the waves right here highlighted in red. And it's really easy to pinpoint the areas and kind of game plan how I want to approach practice. You know, I can see through here that obviously these southern shorelines are going to be very windy. It's going to be hard to fish through those areas. So I can kind of scroll through and see, you know, the second day of practice, it's not quite as windy. The wind direction shifts a little bit, and I can fish those areas that weren't as protected the day before. Now, you can even scroll into the event, you know, into the first day of the tournament. So here's Thursday, first day of the tournament. You can see we got a very strong southeast wind predicted. So this whole western shoreline is getting pounded by the wind. So that's going to factor majorly into my game plan heading into the first day of the event. I know I'm going to need to find some fish that is protected on that east side of the lake to know that, you know, it won't be blown out. It won't be, you know, the waves crashing into that shoreline. So I'm going to need to find some fish on that eastern side to be protected from that wind, or, you know, potentially back in some of these creeks or whatnot. But this is very precise, and it jumps right out at you with the bright colors that you can see exactly where that wind's going to be crashing in the hardest and kind of game plan your strategy around that. Okay, so let's go back. One other feature that I use every single time game planning for a new fishery is the water clarity app, or water clarity filter on the Deep Dive app. I'm sorry, getting my words all tangled up. So you look here and you can see that generally the lake is pretty clean. You know, they got a little bit of color up towards the upper end and towards the back of some of these creeks, but generally speaking, the lake is pretty clear and stable. And there's even a tab down here that you can scroll through past history just to see that the lake has stayed fairly stable here recently. You haven't had any drastic changes in water clarity or anything like that. So, looks like the lake's pretty stable. Looks like the water's pretty clear, which I like. I like pretty clear water. And it looks like the weather's going to play a big factor in the event this week. So, all of that can be done right here on your phone on the Deep Dive app. So it's pretty cool. You're able to game plan those sort of things before practice even starts. And you guys can do the same thing if you're heading out on the lake on the weekend or heading for a fishing trip wherever you go. You can do a lot of that game planning right from the Deep Dive app before you get out there. So all of that is factoring into my game plan as we speak. And as we drive down there, I'm going to be thinking about a lot of those things. And you know, as I go throughout practice, I continually check and recheck, especially that wind forecast, to see the areas where I need to be locating fish to kind of be protected from that wind, or even find areas that maybe the wind is crashing into because that's part of my pattern. You know, all of that's available right there, and we can do all of that right from the Deep Dive app. So, other than that, I think the event is going to go pretty smooth. I'm excited to see, I'm really excited to get back with the fishing family, get back on the road, get back in the swing of things, fishing tournaments again. I'm ready to put a few bass on the score tracker. I think Conroe really may surprise some people. I think you'll see some really good numbers of fish, even though the weather's been fairly cold here lately. You know, next week looks fairly decent for fishing. So I think you'll see a lot of different patterns in play, a lot of guys catching fish, and I think it's going to be a pretty good tournament. So I'm excited to get down there and hopefully figure out how to catch a few of those big bass. You know, you're in Texas, Lake Conroe, the potential to catch a 10, 11, 12 pounder is there. It's real. Any one of those casts could be one of those giant bass, so you never really know what could be on the end of the line, and that's something that's super cool going out on a body of water like that. So Appreciate you guys watching our little preview video. I'm curious to see how things go down after the fact. Curious to see what you guys think of the event. So make sure you drop it in the comments below what you expect to see. Are you pumped to see the tournaments back? I know I am, so I'm ready to get the season rolling. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave me all those likes, subscribe, all that good stuff down below, and we'll see you guys next time.